Grief is universal, but also unique. Everyone encounters grief, but no two people grieve in the same way. Even so, there are so many myths about how people should grieve. Today, we're going to talk about 10 grief myths. Myth number 1, there is a right way to grieve. In reality, some people cry, some people scream, some want to be alone, while others seek out social connection. Responses to grief vary widely from culture to culture and person to person. There's no one correct way to grieve. What's helpful in one moment may not be helpful in the next moment. Trust what feels right to you. Myth number 2, only the loss of a loved one can cause grief. In reality, many types of loss may cause grief. Sometimes it's the loss of a loved one, other times it's the loss of a job or a life role or something that you've had for a long time. You can grieve pets, environmental destruction, the plight of others, or just something that you really enjoyed being broken. Grief can also happen when life doesn't meet your expectations or forces you to acknowledge limitations. For example, you may grieve a chronic illness or the physical changes of aging. Myth number 3, people need therapy to recover from grief. In reality, many cases, therapy is not needed. However, some people feel therapy helps them navigate their grief journey, particularly when intense emotions are long-lasting or if depression sets in. Evaluate your need for professional help on a regular basis. Myth number 4, avoid bringing up someone's grief. In reality, many people feel their grief is invisible or unimportant to others, which can be a very lonely experience. For some people, sharing or discussing their grief with others can be therapeutic. Acknowledging someone's grief through a hug or a kind word is a powerful way to offer support and social connection. If you feel unable to do this face-to-face, consider calling or writing, or just send them a quick message letting you know you're there for them or thinking about them. Myth number 5, grief should resolve after a certain period of time. In reality, grief has no time frame. While grief often lessens with time, significant losses will likely have an enduring impact. Myth number 6, grief follows distinct stages. In reality, despite the popular belief that grief has 5 distinct stages, research does not back this up. You might skip stages or go through them in reverse order, or they may not apply at all. Even though the stages offer a framework of general things that people may experience, they may not all apply to you. Feel free to refer to stage models if they are helpful, but follow your intuition above all else. No matter how it looks, your grief is real, valid, and meaningful. There is no one map for the grief journey. Myth number 7, grief is experienced in the same way across all cultures. In reality, culture strongly shapes the grief experience. Some cultures see grief as private and personal, while others approach it as a community experience. Even within the same culture, individuals may grieve very differently based on factors such as age, religion, personality, family situations, and past experiences. One may have been taught how to grieve differently than someone else, even if they're within the same family. Myth number 8, grief is just an intense form of sadness. Oftentimes, grief includes sadness, but it can also include many other emotions such as guilt, anger, and jealousy. Even positive emotions such as joy, gratitude, and hope may be part of the grief experience. You may have a roller coaster of emotions around grief, particularly when a loss is recent. Then again, you may find that your emotions are consistent and predictable. Experiences vary widely, and that's okay. Myth number 9, moving on is a betrayal of the deceased. In reality, after a loss, some feel they can't allow themselves to be happy, enter a new relationship, or move forward in life, or even do certain things that maybe you guys talked about together. Going on with life and seeking happiness does not mean that you have forgotten or stopped loving the person you lost. It's okay to move forward at the speed that feels right for you. And finally, myth number 10. Advice is the best way to help someone who is grieving. In reality, the temptation to give advice can be hard to resist. While your intentions may be good, advice can come across as impersonal or even judgmental. Your presence is often the best thing you can offer. Allow yourself to be affected by their pain. Remind them how much you care, and be sensitive to their needs and wishes, and just meet them where they're at. Sometimes they just need to know that somebody's there, and somebody will support them, or that they can talk to you if needed. Let them go through it at their own pace. What are some myths that you run into? What are some expectations that you see with grief? Let us know in the comments, and let us know if there's any other videos or topics you would like us to talk about. Thank you for watching and being here with us as we talk about grief myths. Let us know if you have any questions.